right, we are now up to Mesopotamia Notes, Part 3, and we're going to talk about the contributions of the Mesopotamians. So when I say the word contributions, sometimes people think of the word contribute, which means to give, and that's definitely related to contributions. Contributions of a civilization are things that they invented or created that made the world better. It could be inventions, it could be ideas, it could be both. So, from the start of Sumer to the death of Hammurabi, Mesopotamians invented a lot, created a lot of customs, and spread cultural ideas throughout the ancient world. Because the Sumerians are known as the earliest civilization, Mesopotamia, they are sometimes called the cradle of civilization, like babies are in a cradle. So of all the civilizations, this is the beginning part. The oldest written records ever found were Sumerian. They're also the first to write down laws. Some of their inventions include things like the wheel. No, I'm not talking about like cavemen wheel kind of stuff, like using the wheel for like carts and things. The plow, which this is an Egyptian thing in terms of a picture, but it was a Mesopotamian idea. You attach it to cows or ox or whatever kind of cattle you have, and they pull it and it turns the soil. And if you've ever played in dirt, I know, here we go, I'm talking about playing in dirt again. You know how once you get deeper into the ground, it's softer. So if you move that softer soil up to the top, it's easier to work with when you're planting crops. And also, the Mesopotamians invent the sailboat. They're the ones that figured that out. And now, obviously, they had boats where you could row your boat. But it's so much easier to put up a sail and then just steer as the wind takes you. Wheel makes transportation easier, as I said, with carts and stuff. The plow makes it possible for farmers to grow food with less effort, and the sailboat replaces the constant rowing, by this time using the wind. Mesopotamians also create a 12-month calendar based on the moon cycles, and they used it to keep track of religious festivals and planting seasons. Another thing they did is they created math. So, if you like math, you owe a big thank you to the Mesopotamians. And if you don't like math, you can blame the Mesopotamians. They developed the number system based on 60, meaning like time-wise, how there's 60 minutes in an hour, 60 seconds in a minute. It's the Mesopotamians that figured that out. They also had something called a water clock, which was super cool. There would be controlled droplets of water, and when the water reached a certain number, like they programmed it so that it's dropping every so often, and then the water would reach a certain line, and they'd be like, oh, that's equivalent to the sun being in this position in the sky. I know I have this much daylight left before it starts getting dark. They also figured out there were 360 degrees in a circle, and they needed to do that for the wheel, because if a wheel is not 360 degrees, it's going to be a very bumpy ride on things. All right, so what I have done is I've made this Jamboard. This is something called the Jamboard, Google Jamboard. And I have here 8 categories. I have transportation, irrigation, use of clay, writing system, numbers and measurement, religious traditions, written law, use of copper and bronze. These are all things the Mesopotamians have contributions in. So we're going to start over here with transportation. So transportation, they developed a few different things. They developed the idea of wheeled, I hope if I spelt it correctly, vehicles. And I can't do another one. Oh, we'll do it like this then. Let's see if I can do a list. Oh, I was trying to see, then I won't do a list. I'll just do separate sticky notes. So, wheeled vehicles, and they also developed sailboats. Okay, So now let me put this in my transportation category. There we go. It's like a little interactive chart. So wheeled vehicles and sailboats. In terms of irrigation, that's the water system. So make this one. No, it's the water system. I'll make it blue. So that's that system that used levees, channels, and canals to bring water directly to their crops. Now, this is a big deal because otherwise, if they didn't do that, let me make this one a little bigger so you can see it. That might be a little too big, but we'll go with it. That's a little too big for me. There we go. Without this system, they would have to go to the river with like a bucket, walk all the way back to where their crops are, water it, then go back. This saves so much time, so much effort, so much energy. So a much better idea. When we talk about the use of clay in Mesopotamia, I'll make this one orange. So use of clay, they had tablets. They had muck bricks, mud bricks used for buildings. Come on, computer. Computer just decided to lag right now. There we go. Four, mud bricks, buildings. What's wrong with mud bricks? Let's see what they want me to do. No, it's actually one word when we're talking about ancient times. And they use clay for pottery. So those three things we can put down for use of clay. And don't worry, I'm going to adjust the size of this because I'm sure that bothers some people the way it would bother me. Okay, it all has to fit. All has to fit in the area. All right, in terms of their writing system, well, their writing system, what haven't I used? Pink. Their writing system was called cuneiform, and in it, they use something called a stylus. Now, when we hear the word stylus, you might be thinking of like something you use on like a Switch or something, or like a DS or something like that. It's similar. It's like that thin thing, but they used it to make wedge-shaped. There's like a lag on this. No, make. You can all enjoy as I get frustrated with my slow computer. Make with a K. Fix it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. All right, let's see. Oh, there we go. Make wedge-shaped symbols. Add that. And we'll make this bigger so you can see it. So there's our writing system. All right, so now we're going to go down over here to numbers and measurement. Which one haven't I used yet? I haven't used green yet. So numbers and measurement, as we just talked about, they made a number system based on 60. They made how to measure time, like 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, all that kind of stuff. And, well, there's two more, 360 degrees. Figured out in a circle, and they figured out the idea of a calendar. All right, so I'm going to put these, I think I can do this. Scroll down here, you know what? Move this guy up so these can fit. so we have them all on one page. And if we need to, for some of us that like things all the same length, I'm going to help you out. Otherwise, I know some people get, oh my gosh, it's not even, fix it, fix it. I hear you. So, in terms of religious traditions, all right, let's see. I'll go back to my yellow. For religious traditions, they believed they lived to serve the gods and goddesses. Did I spell that right? Goddess. I did spell it right. Some other things about their religious traditions, they had ziggurats in the center of their city state, so it was like the center of their life. Those ziggurats are those Mesopotamian temples, and they worshipped about 3,000 gods and goddesses. All right, so now let me take our 3 things here. All right, 2 more categories. Next, written law. I'll do this one blue again. So for their written law, that was Hammurabi's code, which had an I. Let me put it in quotes. An I for an I. Philosophy basically meaning if you are found guilty of a crime, whatever you did, a lot of times the consequence would then happen to you. Let's make this a little bigger for you. There you go. And last but not least, I'm going to move this up a little because this will have a few more. The use of copper and bronze. I'll go with orange again. So they use copper and bronze to make things like weapons. They use copper and bronze to make jewelry. They used copper and bronze to make the plow and to make those gates, not just for the city, but also for irrigation. So let's take our 4 things and put them here. And here we have our Jamboard of Mesopotamian contributions. Look at that. Pretty cool. All right. So that ends part 3 notes. Awkward stopping moment now. There we go.